Today I'll be showing you guys how to do a basic oil change on the Tenere 700. This is the same procedure for first and second gen Teneres. I have the original owner's manual in front of me. We'll be going off of that. Oil wise, I went with the Yamaha 10W40 full synthetic. You will need 3 quarts of that. Oil filter, also Yamaha OEM, shop rags, oil funnel, a ratchet 8mm socket, 17mm socket, depending on how tight that oil filter is on there, possibly an oil filter removal tool. You may need a new crush washer for the oil nut. I reused mine a few times. These are pretty cheap on Amazon. You can get a whole bag for a couple bucks. Some gloves, and of course, an oil drain pan. Grab your ratchet and 8mm socket. We will be removing the original cowling off the bike. There'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4 bolts underneath. This is the OEM setup under here. Yours may look a little bit different if you have an aftermarket skid plate, but it's pretty much the same process. We want to get this off and access to the oil filter and drain plug. We will need to warm up the engine before we start draining the oil. I recommend you take off the skid plate or the original cowling off first, just because you have your exhaust pipe right here. This is going to heat up on you. At the left side of the bike, 2 more bolts. Okay, we have the cowling off. Go ahead and fire up your bike, get it up to running temp. Use your oil filter, drain plug, grab your gloves, throw those on. We'll start off with removing the oil nut. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. There she goes. Now be ready, since this oil nut is pointed horizontally, it's going to start shooting out on you like so. Go from above, use your hand, that's just dripping, so we're going to go ahead and take off the oil filter. And of course that sucker is on there tight. It's a little bit too big for the filter. I'm going to use what I have. Try to get this off. There it goes. I'm going to give that a few minutes, let all that old oil drain out of there. I'll grab my rag and just clean off the surface where the oil filter has contact with. Same thing down here. Grab your new filter. It looks like this one is greased. I'm going to put a little bit of oil around the ring anyway. Either way, just for reassurance. Go ahead and get the new oil filter on. Now as you're screwing this on, there shouldn't be any resistance on the first so many turns. It should go on really nice and easy until you catch that rubber gasket on the filter. Then you're going to start feeling some resistance. I usually just hand tighten these. OEM specs are 13 foot-pounds of torque, so that's not very much. So give a nice hand tighten. If tightened correctly, you should be able to get this off by hand next go around. Oil nut can go back on. The crush washer looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and reuse it. Same thing. You should be able to hand tighten this guy all the way in. Let's go ahead and torque that down. Engine oil drain bolt. 32 foot-pounds of torque. That should be good. We are still at the left side of the bike. You will see the filler cap. Go ahead and remove that. If we look at the manual, it states oil quantity with oil filter removal, 2.75 quarts. So let's go ahead and fill her up. Grab your funnel. Okay, so on the third one, we want to go 3/4 of a quart. Now, let's throw the oil filler cap back on. Go ahead and fire up your bike. A couple minutes, let that new oil circulate. Go ahead and shut your bike off. Let that oil settle for a few minutes. If we look down below behind the oil filter, this is your check window for the oil level. There's two bars, a higher bar and a lower bar. You want to be right in between those. What you have to do, you have to push your bike upright and have it perfectly balanced. So see how a slight movement makes that go up or down? You want to have that perfectly balanced, just right about there. And it looks like we're good. Oil level is, I would say, spot on. Well, that's about it for oil change on the Tenere 700. Don't forget to put your cowl or skid plate back on. I have a new skid plate coming, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that off. I'll catch you guys in the next one.